It's another edition of Time About the Movies. We're looking at the weekend of April 20th, 1990. And, we have a lot of movies to look at today, but I've never seen any of them, honestly. Most of what I'm going to say throughout this episode is going to be just on the trailers alone. I have to cut down these for copyright reasons, so going to be an interesting video to talk about. I'll delve deep into the premises, but don't expect me to give a review on most of these movies. I'm just going to be judging for the trailers alone today. We got 6 movies to look at, so let's go ahead and jump right on into it with the first movie, and that is Alec Baldwin, Fred Ward, and Jennifer Jason Leigh in Miami Blues. By the way, rest in peace, Fred Ward. This episode actually comes out a couple weeks after his death, and we looked at Tremors a couple of days before his death. So if you want to see that episode, I'll put a card on the corner right here. If you want to check that out. But I saw that movie, did not see this movie, and I might be something I might check out sometime soon. I mean, it looks like a generic movie. The premise basically is Alec Baldwin plays a convict who goes to Miami, and the first thing he does is take the identity of a police officer, and that police officer is Fred Ward, and Baldwin's love interest is Jennifer Jason Leigh. You also got Charles Napier in here, Nora Dunn. I mean, it could be worth something. The reviews on it are actually not that bad, but most of those reviews for this movie are basically for the performances and the stars alone. Some of the funny setups that they have here, but nothing really all that spectacular about it. Kind of a generic script. But, it's got decent reviews on it, so maybe I'll check it out one day. This director, George Armitage, is one of those directors who is not the best director overall, but this is his first movie he's made in 11 years since Hot Rod. And even after this movie, it took him 7 years to make another film, which was Grosse Pointe Blank, which had John Cusack in it. Yeah, John Cusack. I was just making sure that I got that right. And Minnie Driver. And then The Big Bounce, which was 2004. So he doesn't make a whole lot of movies, and can't really say too much about this one. Has some potential, though, so I don't know. Maybe I might check it out someday. On to the next movie, Lisa. Kid, what did you think was going to happen when you decided to do this? Would I expect anything less from the same man that made Poltergeist 3? No, this seriously is directed by the same man who did Poltergeist 3, and he's not a very good director, as he only did one other movie after this, a TV movie, and that was it for him. But, yeah, this is one of those movies that has the stupid premise that it's so stupid because you can easily see where it could go wrong almost immediately. And naturally, it goes wrong almost immediately. But, you got Cheryl Ladd in here. You've got Stacey Keenan, who a year later would find better success with Step by Step, the TV series. But yeah, this is rough. This does not look like a good movie whatsoever. It looks like the movie that you can see coming a mile away. You know what's going to happen. You know how it's going to end. Yeah, like again, what were you thinking when you thought this was a good idea? Like, I don't understand what anybody would have thought of when they thought this would be a good idea, but anyway, that's Lisa, so let's go on ahead and move on to the next movie, which I don't know off the top of my head right now. Martians Go Home. So it's basically a much lesser version of Earth Girls Are Easy. I mean, it's pretty much the same concept, except just replace the bird-like alien creatures with just alien creatures, and none of these guys are really all that funny. I saw this whole trailer, and I did not laugh once. It's just like, why are they here? They're here because they want to see the world and all that. This, it turns into like a sex comedy for no reason whatsoever. And it's just like, okay, where are we going with this, guys? It's just like, I mean, if Randy Quaid's the biggest name you have in here, then actually, I take that back. There are a couple of other notable names here. You've got Ronnie Cox, Tim Stack, who would go on to do stuff like Son of the Beach and be on My Name Is Earl. Garrett Graham, Dean Devlin, who would be Roland Emmerich's production partner on many of his movies. Nicky Katt, Troy Evans. So there are some notable names here, but for the time, I think Randy Quaid was probably the biggest name on here. But yeah, the movie just doesn't look that good whatsoever. It looks very cheap. It looks very lackluster. It doesn't look like it has a ton of laughs to it. and it just doesn't look like a good movie whatsoever. And this writer, Charles S. Haas, would actually go on to write a better movie in 1990. We'll get to that when Gremlins 2 comes out. But, yeah, Martians Go Home, this movie should have just gone home and never came back. So, on to the next movie, and that is Why Me? I'll give it this. It has a pretty good cast to it. Christopher Lambert, Christopher Lloyd, J.T. Walsh, Kim Grease, Michael J. Pollard. There is a good cast involved here. It was co-written by David Koepp, directed by the same man who would do Loaded Weapon 1 about 3 years later. I mean, it's got potential. I feel like there is some stuff here that could work, specifically with Lambert and Lloyd. I mean, anytime you put Christopher Lloyd in anything, it automatically moves the movie up a bit. But, I don't know. It could be worth it. Could be not. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a shot one day. It's not something I'm going to rush out to see, but it definitely does pique my interest. So that's my thoughts on the Why Me trailer. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. Pretentious, boring French film. Anyway, moving on to the next movie. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I didn't show a whole lot of clips from that trailer. Nothing really caught my attention that I needed to show off to you. So I just got the little bit that I could. So basically what happens in the movie is that this guy who is pretty much a recluse, he's accused of murdering a woman simply because his neighbors think he's strange. So basically it's a Karen or a Mitch situation where the other person, the neighbor, isn't very friendly. He doesn't do very much. So they're just like, yeah, let's go ahead and frame it for something he didn't do. I mean, that's pretty much what a Karen and a Mitch does, pretty much, when you really think about it. But I mean, I see decent things about this movie. I see things that say it's actually a pretty good movie, and it's just like, okay, but I know that I'm completely going off the rails with this, but it's just like, it's like, okay, I mean, this movie could be it's probably a lot better than I'm giving it credit for. It's a movie made in it's a French film. Yeah, it's a French crime drama, and I mean, like I said, I'm making fun of it more than I should. The movie actually probably is very good. Has a lot of good reviews to it. It has some pretty decent actors in it. Some good direction. It could actually be pretty good. I'm just making some jokes here. They're not the best jokes, but I gotta do something here to kill some time. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie, and that is Chattahoochee. So this is another one of those post-war dramas. This one taking place with a guy who's been in the Korean War. He wants to commit suicide. He provokes the local police by shooting him, and then they shoot him in the chest. He goes to a Florida hospital. He fights against doctors and staff, terrorizing and torturing patients. Basically, he has mental health problems. And I mean, for a movie like this was made in '89. This is a movie where really, I think, really misses the mark of what it was trying to accomplish here. I mean, you have a movie about a guy who's clearly going through some mental health issues. He's a guy who's been in the Korean War. And you do have to give the movie credit for the research that they went into it, because they did their best to try to make it, to show people what mental health hospitals in the 1970s looks like, because this takes place in the 1970s. And I guess there is a lot of things that did come from this movie. This helped to there was a more legislative reform of mental health issues sweeping the nation, and a lot of cases were brought into light because of this. But I mean, judging by this trailer, though, I feel like they missed the mark here. It feels like they were trying to sell it more as something that it wasn't supposed to be. This movie could have been an early movie that would have shown off the trials and tribulations of people with mental health issues, and like post-war soldiers, and how they go through their trying to get back to normalcy. And you have this guy here who just wants to die, just feels bad about what he did and wants to just end it all. And it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like they missed the mark here. This director, Mick Jackson's actually made a couple of decent movies after this movie came out. The next movie he did was L.A. Story with Steve Martin, which is a great movie, which we'll get into when we get into '91. But I don't know. I mean, this trailer really doesn't look like it's making the right case that it was to say. Like it has a message that it wants to get off its chest, but it's just not there. So, and it hasn't gotten any decent reviews, so it can't. So, more than likely, it's probably not that good. It's one of those movies that has some good intentions to it that probably didn't meet those expectations, or maybe it's an underrated gem. Maybe there are people out there that probably do appreciate what this movie was trying to do, or I doubt it, but you never know. So that's just my quick assumption on Chattahoochee. I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really go into too much detail on it. It's just I'm just trying to express my thoughts after watching the trailer. It doesn't really look like they didn't have a whole lot there to work with, at least in my opinion. And with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time around, we'll wrap up the month of April, 1990, with 4 more movies, including The Guardian, a.k.a. the Killer Tree movie. You'll see what I mean when we talk about it. Space Invaders, a family comedy. We also have Q&A, and we also have Mickey Rourke and Wild Orchid. So we'll look at those 4 movies and wrap up April of 1990 next time around. And thank you guys for watching. And as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the next page with the playlist and a previous episode. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another new episode. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then, take care.